Hello guys, and welcome to today's class. And in today's class we'll be considering the topic transport system. And we already know from our previous classes that for a system to be formed, it comprises of organs which are built from tissues, and these tissues are built from cells. So cells come together to give us, if we go in this direction, to give us tissue, while tissue come together to give us organs, and these organs come to give us systems. So when we now considering transport system, we are talking about a system that provides an efficient way for distribution of materials within the body of an organism or of a living thing. So that's what we'll be considering as a whole in this topic. Now, what is the meaning of transport system? Transport system in plants and animals refers to the movement of metabolic, so transport has to do with movement of metabolic materials from different parts of the body, that from where they are produced and taken to where they are either used, stored, or removed from the body. So in other words, these materials are produced in one part of the body and they could be needed in another part of the body. Hence the need for a transport system so that they can be moved from where they are produced to where they can be used, or they can be stored, or they can be removed from the body, as the case may be. Next, we'll be looking at the need for transport. The need for transport. Now, transportation is very necessary because it helps organisms to be able to move around essential materials, or essential nutrients. So it helps the body to move essential materials such as nutrients, that's from the food we eat. We have oxygen, we have water, and etc. So transportation also helps the body to remove metabolic waste. Now, because these wastes are toxic to the body, they are harmful to the body, hence you need to remove them, get rid of them from the body. And those wastes include carbon dioxide, water, urea, and etc. So it also helps plants to move mineral salts and water right from the roots up to the stem and to the leaves where they are needed for various activities. It also helps to move hormones in plants and animals. Hormones are produced in one side and they are being transported to other areas of the body where they are needed to carry out their function. Glucose also from the leaves as well as storage organs are being transported regularly in plants. So these are some of the needs for transportation, why transportation is quite important in the body. Now we'll be looking at transport in lower organisms. So allow us to pay a little attention to this. I will be explaining this with the diagram and the table together. Now, as organisms become larger, their body surface area increases by the square of their dimensions. Alright, you have it on your screen, you can read that, so I'll just do the explanation. When you come down here, we have 3 boxes here of different size. I will just take it, label here, this 1, this is 2, and this 3. So we have them here. So 1 is same thing as X here, 2 is same thing as Y, and 3 is same thing as Z. You can see their size, they are the side of the cube we have. For 1 is 1 centimeter, for 2 is 2 centimeter, for 3 is 3 centimeter. Now when you look at the surface area for X is 6, while the volume is 1. The surface area for Y is 24, while the volume is 8. You can see why the surface area for Z is 54, while the volume is 27. Now what this diagram here, these cubes are trying to tell us is that the smaller an organism, the larger the surface area in relation to its volume. So if the organism is small in size, its surface area in relation to its volume would be large. It will be bigger. Just like as we have here, if we look at the table we have here, you can see that cube X or cube 1 has the smallest surface area, which is 6. Which is 6 is the smallest. But looking at the surface area to volume ratio is giving us 6. While for Z, which has the largest surface area, 54 centimeter square. Now look at the surface area to volume ratio. It is 2. So this to tell us that the smaller the organism, as in X here, the larger the surface area to volume ratio, 6. And the larger the organism, the surface area of the organism, for example Z, the smaller the surface area to volume ratio, 2. So that's what this is trying to tell us, because we are trying to consider transport in lower organisms, because they are quite small. They are small, so therefore their surface area in relation to their volume is large. So we just use this table to illustrate what we are talking about here. So we'll move to the next. Now we see that in unicellular organisms, such as amoeba, paramecium, and like, we see that the surface area to volume ratio of the body is large. Why? Because these organisms are small. So because they have large surface area to volume ratio, so nutrients like food, oxygen, water, excreting materials like water, carbon dioxide can move in and out of the body by diffusion. So diffusion becomes effective in transporting these materials from one place to the other. Those that need to be removed will be removed. Those that need to be taken to where they will be used would be used. Now, or in contrast, looking at multicellular organisms that have small body surface relative to their large volume, you see that now these organisms are now large in size. Now their surface area to volume ratio becomes smaller. Now diffusion becomes inadequate. Diffusion becomes inadequate. So therefore you see that why is diffusion inadequate? Because large quantities of nutrients and waste products has to be transported over long distances. So diffusion becomes inadequate. Why? Because the organism becomes larger and the surface area to volume ratio becomes smaller. So to understand it, you can refer back to the previous slide where we had our table to explain that. Now we'll be looking at the materials for transport in animals. The materials for transport in animals. So I'll just brush through them. You have them. They are quite explainable. Number one, we have oxygen. Oxygen is transported from the lungs to the living cells. When you take in oxygen through your nose, they go to your lungs, and from the lungs they are taken to the cell for tissue respiration. Another material, number two, is carbon dioxide. After this oxygen is used to break down the glucose in the tissues or in the cells, carbon dioxide is given off as a byproduct and is sampled. Hence, they need to be transported so that they can be excreted from the body. Number three, we have urea. This is also an excretory product, which is usually excreted from the liver. It's a byproduct. Also, we have excess salt. Excess salt are also not good. From what? Excess. When you have too much of it in the body, it's not good. So therefore, that part that is excess will need to be removed by the skin as well as kidney. Water also is an excretory product which is being removed by the cell, and transported to various organs such as the skin, lungs, kidney, and liver, where they are excreted. Also, we have amino acid. It's the building blocks of proteins. When you eat and the end product of protein digestion, they give you amino acid. They need to be transported to because they are nutrients which your body need. Vitamins too, they are also nutrients. Sugars are also nutrients, so they need to be transported to the various parts of the body so that they can be utilized in the release of energy. Fatty acid as well as glycerol, they're also part of those nutrients. Minerals, salt is part of it. Then we have hormones. Hormones as well will need to be transported from where they are produced, the endocrine glands that produce them, to the various tissue or target organs where they can carry out their function. We also have antibodies too. They are produced by the white blood capsules, and they are transported by the blood to various parts to be able to carry out their function also. So next we'll be looking at materials for transport in plants. Materials for transport in plants. Now we have manufactured food. Food is also transported from where they are produced as a leaf, mainly to all living cells of the body for tissue respiration or for storage. So when these plants manufacture their food through the process of photosynthesis, this is the process by which green plants manufacture their own food. So when they manufacture their food through the process of photosynthesis, there's need for this manufactured food to be transported to various parts of that plant, either for tissue respiration to release energy or for storage. Also, excretory products are also transported, so that's carbon dioxide and water in the plant. They are also transported from one place to another. Water also, which is absorbed from the roots or from soil, are also transported to the leaves and various parts where they'll be utilized for photosynthesis or for other functions. Other things transported in plants also include, we have number 4 here, we also have oxygen. O2 is also transported. We have amino acid. Amino acids are also transported. Also we have glucose. We have lipids and etc. So all these are transported in the plant. Also we have hormones, oxygens, mineral salt, and etc. So all these are part of the materials that have been transported in plants. Now, media for transportation. The media for transportation, we talk about the means by which these materials we've highlighted that can be transported in animals as well as plants. They have a media or a medium through which they can be transported, where they are carried from one place to another. Cytoplasm is a medium in which unicellular organisms like amoeba, paramecium utilize to transport these materials they need. Cell sap or latex is also a medium which plants utilize to transport these materials. And we also have the blood and lymph, in which vertebrates and higher animals utilize to transport the materials that they need at various parts or points in